Hi, I'm Gabe Escobedo, Artistic Director at Pacific Crest Drum and Bugle Corps. Our 2024 production is entitled The Broken Column. As an adolescent, Frida Kahlo suffered a car accident between a bus and a trolley. When she woke up, she was told, you're not going to be able to walk, yet maybe not even live. Her injuries left her bedridden. At that point, her mother wanted her to live some way, somehow. And she built an art easel in her bed where she would have a mirror mounted on the top of her bed, and that's where she would paint self-portraits of herself. I think there's a lot of pain, passion is depicted in it. I think there's just so much imagery and poetry in that picture alone that we were able to extract so much from it. Everybody knows Frida as the unibrow. It was also something that the entire core hornline percussion color guard could really buy into and use it as an identity. If there's anything that I'm most proud of taking a risk was the hornline uniform. Using burnt orange and brown and monarch butterfly print on the vaquero style jacket was a huge risk for me. And I'm really happy that it turned out well. It really does give us an identity in a true and honest traditional look. The monarch butterfly really represents change, life, rebirth. To set the scene, we took inspiration from Martha Graham's Appalachian Spring Ballet. That's why there's the broken walls to depict the broken home and also kind of give the illusion of picture frames. From the very first design meeting that we had, I wanted to make sure that Lucas Oil was engulfed with a mariachi singer. The opening guard costume is an authentic Tijuana overdress. She mainly started wearing because she had her leg amputated, so she really wanted to make sure that braces were covered by her overdress. Then we go into Elliot Golenthal's burning bed, and that's when the guard is surrounding the horn line and they're pushing the bed, and that's when Frida awakes from her medically induced coma, and that's when she's like, what just happened to my life? She finally awakes to the horn line stabs of the John Adams harmonium. And that's her coming to terms of this massive car accident and how that's going to impact the rest of her life. For the second half of part one, we have the sextet and we have multiple vignettes create, a busy city life of 1930s Mexico as she's getting into the trolley prior to the accident. We were in Vegas for a guard open house, and Chad writing a rifle routine to Rama Lama Bang Bang. And he was doing some way quirky movement, it was interesting. And I told him like, hey, this would be great for part two. He's like, wait, really? I was like, yeah, I think this would be great. And I told him, I think our musical side of design team would knock this out. Once we started workshopping it, I was like, this is where she wakes up from her coma. This is where she's on painkillers, hallucination caused by her pain medication. We go into part two into our white costume is to really depict the broken column. And if you look at Frida's paintings, more often than not, she is dressed in white. The way that we brought the tuba duo to life, she was a lover of nature and of wild animals. She always has two monkeys or jaguars. That also leads us into part three, where we have the giant skirt that comes out. And that's another one of her famous paintings called The Two Fridas. And that was really was there to represent her inability to bear children. She was on a tour with her husband, Diego Rivera, where she suffered a miscarriage. In part three, in our ballad, we have the giant skirt that engulfs the horn line, and we have the color guard spinning rope flags to symbolize a heart with the umbilical cord attached to it. This year, when I brought up the Frida idea to program coordinator David McGrath, he said, I have the perfect song for our ballad. The opening line is, I died in a car crash 2 days ago, unrecognizable, pulled from the gears, and no one's fault. A percussion feature featuring the music of Joseph Swatner and the Mountains Rising Nowhere. It's there to depict not only her dreams or her nightmares, but her own reality. The inspiration behind the closer was really her triumphant return to life. One of the things that really drew me was the diversity that we bring here at Pacific Crest, not only as a membership, but as a designer myself, being one of the few minority designers in Drum Corps International. In my almost 20 years of teaching, one of the things that I instill yearly in performers, they are able to emotionally connect thousands of strangers watching them perform. The thing I look forward to the most this last week of the season is watching 156 performers just give it their all. I consider myself very lucky that I was able to produce this and bring this to life with some amazing performers.